Camels, dunes, the sun is blazing as if it could scorch you, and there is not a soul around. The golden, majestic dunes seem to have been here forever. But it was not so. What secrets does the great desert hide from mankind, and what lies beneath its burning sands? What if North Africa, with the largest desert on the planet, was once a thriving land, with its many major cities, flowing rivers, and all the benefits of a civilization that makes no point in developing in a resource-poor climate? How has a place become desolate where the traces of a highly developed civilization are at every turn? Let's find out. What could surprise the Sahara? Well, for example, a cemetery of whales, or more precisely, their ancient ancestors, the Basilosaurus. Or, for example, the bones of one of the largest dinosaurs, the herbivorous sauropod. This giant, judging by the fossils, could reach 32 meters in length and weigh up to 60 tons. And in 2018, bones of another previously unknown dinosaur, Mansarosaurus, were discovered beneath the vast desert sands. All these cute little critters existed millions of years ago. However, the desert itself is quite young compared to these bones. According to modern science, the largest desert on the planet, the Sahara, is thousands of years old. To be more precise, according to the latest data, around 6,000 years old. It was then, 6 millenniums ago, that the arid desert of over 9 million square kilometers was covered by a thick green carpet. Entire settlements lived here and domestic animals grazed peacefully. Where today there is almost nothing but hot sand, there were green meadows and lakes, and rainfall was so abundant that it fed the Tamanrasset River, which carries its waters across the Green Sahara into the Atlantic Ocean. The river, with its numerous tributaries, was over 500 kilometers long and would have made the list of the world's longest rivers. In 2015, three-dimensional satellite images helped discover the largest river. Thanks to them, scientists noticed the smooth edges of the river's ancient channels, hidden beneath the modern desert. And in Central Africa, there was a lake dubbed Mega Chad. Once upon a time, this body of water was larger than the Caspian Sea and stretched almost 388,500 square kilometers across the Sahara. If the lake existed now, it would be the largest on the planet. Pictures released by NASA clearly show how huge it was. But what if it wasn't 6,000 years ago? Otherwise, there would have been no need for medieval maps of the full-flowing rivers and large cities of northern Africa just a few centuries ago. Maps of the blooming Sahara. How is it that deserts are thousands of years old, but on maps from the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, it is a blooming land with major cities? And these maps are considered historically accurate. Here's a map of Africa from 1688. We overlay it with a modern space image of a scorched desert. What do we see? An abundance of cities and rivers. The coast is densely populated, but there are also many cities in the center of the desert, and Cairo is marked with the same icon on this map, that is, the cities inside the desert are large. We know nothing about them now. Here is another map, dated 1575. It's all similar: rivers, lakes, towns. Here's another map from 1500. Or this map from 1502, which shows a green forest with lush grass in the center of the modern Sahara. This is Heinrich Bunting's map of Africa from 1581, which is a little less detailed, just like the map itself. This is a detailed map by the Dutch cartographer Willem Blauw. It is dated 1642. There are other maps, but there is no point in citing them, all roughly the same picture, which roughly corresponds to at least the African savanna, and not the scorched desert that the Sahara represents today. Official science curtsies towards these uncomfortable maps by noting, significant deviations from normal conditions were observed from the 16th to the 17th century. At that time, precipitation increased significantly along the tropical frontier, in the desert itself, and possibly in its northern regions. In the 19th century, climatic conditions returned to those similar to the current ones. However, this explanation seems to have been created on purpose to explain the anomalous maps of the blooming Sahara, as there are no earlier maps and it is impossible to check whether this was a short-term deviation from normal conditions or whether the Sahara has always been so green. The Sahara takes its present form on geographical maps as early as the late 18th century, and even as late as the early 19th century, when the entire center of northern Africa is beginning to be covered with sand. By the way, medieval maps do not show ancient Egyptian pyramids. Isn't it strange? One would think that they have been neglected, or maybe they have not yet been included into the project called World History. However, that is a topic for another video. For now, let's return to the Sahara. And let's look at this. If there are cities on the maps, at least something should have remained of them. Indeed, the ruins of large ancient cities are not uncommon in the Sahara, as you can see in these photographs. These are the ruins of the ancient city of Timgad in the northern Sahara, and this is what remains of the ancient city of Garm. There are quite a few ruins of this kind, and their number and size confirm that it makes no sense to build such urbanization in a resource-poor desert area where camel caravans cross the dunes in search of the nearest oasis with a few villages. Who built all these cities? On the tombstones, as in our modern cemeteries, one can see not a name wrongly scratched with a chisel but a photograph, one might say. Let's talk about them in details. White people of Sahara. Let's look again at this map of 1500. You can see clearly traced towns in the middle of modern Sahara, and what is interesting is that the rulers of these towns are more similar to Europeans in appearance than the modern Arab population of the region. One could say that it is just a European way of representing a foreign and distant land, like the way they like to portray Lenin in China. But in fact, the question is not so simple. There are many tribes in the Sahara Desert, but the most famous are the proud Tuaregs. A stern-looking rider, wrapped up to his eyes in a bandage, riding a camel or horse, is the symbol of the great land of sands. They are fair-skinned and have very little Negro blood in their veins. How the Tuaregs arrived in the Sahara is an open question for official science. However, it is well known that the Tuaregs are Berber. The word comes from Greek barbari or Latin barbari. So where there is a Berber, there is a barbarian, and where there is a barbarian, there is a white race. There is no special secret here. But what is interesting is that it is not what they call themselves. Berber's self-name, according to linguists' research, may be derived from the word red. Indeed, there are many red-haired, white-skinned people with blue or light brown eyes among them. For example, Miss Algeria 2013, wife of King Mohammed of Jordan and world-famous and beloved French singer Edith Piaf. She is Berber on her mother's side. Or, for example, Zinedine Zidane, known to many fans. There is also a lot of red in the Berber national dress. The fact that Amazigh tribes are Europeoid is also confirmed by numerous genetic studies, which have highlighted the so-called Berber marker, the E1b1b haplogroup, which occurs not only in East, North and South Africa, but also in Europe and West Asia. However, politically correct scientists are wary of directly attributing Berbers to the white race. They call them white Arabs. Unfortunately, no Berber sources have been preserved about their own history and culture, which is not surprising, given the number of invaders that came in waves against this ancient people. Recent history has not passed by either. For example, after the occupation of Libya by NATO troops, almost all the museums and museum treasures in Libya were looted and destroyed. The ancient cities of Libya, Sabrata and Leptis Magna were savagely bombed. Unique mosaics with ancient symbols, which the sands of Libya had guarded for hundreds of years, were irrevocably destroyed. The same happened in Yugoslavia and Iraq, and in Libya they even managed to steal ancient rock art. They impregnated the cloth with a special chemical compound and sealed it on the images, which were then glued to it. Eye of the Sahara. Perhaps the most bizarre wonder of the Sahara and one of the planet's major mysteries lies in Mauritania. This unique geological formation, clearly visible even from space, is called the Eye of the Sahara or Richet structure. It is a series of huge, concentric rings and is about 50 kilometers in diameter. The object became famous in 1965 when it was discovered by Gemini 4, a manned spacecraft. Ever since, scientists have been searching for an answer to a key question. What is the nature of this structure? If it is the site where an ancient meteorite fell, where is the crater itself, and why is there no sign of the impact? If it is the mouth of an extinct volcano, why are there no volcanic rocks? Alternative researchers give other facts. The rocky terrain in the area is melted, as after an explosion of enormous power. Look at this, the top layer of burnt rocks and below is a layer of light stone. In other photos, the stones on the top side are melted and on the bottom side they have a lighter shade, which clearly indicates a powerful radiation in all spectra coming from the same direction. The approximate correspondence of this location with the old maps is the town of Hoden, but with such power it doesn't really make sense to talk about particular towns. And here's why. In modern military terminology, an explosion of approximately 200 to 250 megatons of TNT equivalent is needed to form a crater of such size. For comparison, in 1961 the Tsar Bomba explosion with its 50 megatons triggered a multi-process, which increased the power to 58 megatons. That is, the fusion process began to involve the matter in the surrounding space, a dangerous chain reaction which resulted in the combustion of air itself. And no one knows why the process stopped then. It happened like this. At first, the warhead was assembled with 100 megatons capacity, but at the last moment it was dismantled and re-equipped with 50 megatons. Perhaps it was because they feared a multi-effect, which nevertheless happened anyway. Now imagine that a similar process with burnout of part of the atmosphere took place exactly when the Richet structure appeared. The burning out of the atmosphere, the destruction of cities and entire civilizations, the emergence of a vast desert area in an instantaneous time by geological standards. Although, it was certainly not like that, because it was simply the result of natural geological processes. It was just a circular structure that had been blown around by the wind. Indeed, there are no secrets of the Sahara at all. But, are you sure about this? What do you think about it? It's time to dip into the comments and get expert opinions. Don't forget to rate this video and see you on our channel.